Hello and welcome back to another episode of True Crime Metrix. We are going to be looking at Christopher DeCoste's cross-examination of Wendi Adelson tonight. Again! But don't worry, if you missed tonight's show, you can go and see one of the other 56 times we've covered this same video. But those goddamn viewers, they just keep calling out for more. Adelson, Adelson, give us Adelson. Give us Adelson case. We want Adelson case. I've had enough of it. I've really had enough of it. Oh, man. Hello, Sam Butter. How you doing? Okay, we're going to be sharing... what are we sharing? We're sharing Wendi Adelson's cross-examination.
Cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Mrs. Adelson, this is all about you, isn't it?
Excuse me?
This is all about you, right?
I was called to be a witness and I'm testifying, so I don't understand the question. Is it a question?
There's about 100 people in this courtroom, right?
There are people in the courtroom.
I love it when anything can be a question if you just put right at the end of it. You can make any... You're a total psycho lying bitch, right? You can make any statement and turn it into a question just by suffixing it with the word right.
Possibly thousands watching, right?
I have no idea who's watching.
And it's all because of your failed marriage, right?
I disagree with that.
You disagree that your ex-husband is
It's failed marriage and murder plot, Chris. Come on.
dead because of your family.
Yes, I disagree.
These jurors are here for weeks doing their civic duty because of your marriage, right?
No.
Katie's going through this ordeal because of that marriage, right?
No.
Dan Markel's parents are going through absolute misery because of your failed marriage. Isn't that right?
No, that's incorrect.
Well, let's talk about the marriage. You and Professor Markel, you met when you were in law school. You told that to Miss Kaplan. And it was a whirlwind romance, right? Right?
It was not a whirlwind romance, no.
It led to a wedding, February 26th of 2006.
We should cut it in with Chris Watts. Yeah, I got back to the house this morning. It was like a whirlwind. It was a ghost town. I wanted them to just come through the door, just break down the door, barrel rush me, knock my head open. I don't care. Split my head open. I want you to throw chicken nuggets at me right now. Just split my head open and pelt me with nuggets. I need that. I needed that. It was a ghost town. It was a whirlwind.
You had a big wedding in Boca Raton, right?
Did we get married on February 26, 2006? Is that the question? Yes.
In Boca Raton.
In Boca Raton, Florida.
And it wasn't a small wedding, it was a big wedding.
There were many people in attendance.
All right, in this marriage, it led to 2 children, right? Your 2 boys.
Are you asking me if I have 2 boys?
Yes.
Yes.
And Professor Markel, he was a great father, wasn't
He was a very good father, yes.
he? Those boys were his world, right?
As well as his work, yes.
Yeah, Professor Markel, his sense of fatherhood was exactly the same as his sense of professional duty and obligation. So, if he had a chance to save his boys' lives or keep his job, he'd have to do rock, paper, scissors with himself.
And they adored him too, didn't they?
Absolutely.
Now, this marriage started to fall apart, right?
It did.
But there were problems from the very beginning, weren't there? Right?
Are you asking me, what is the very beginning? The very beginning of when we got married?
Literally at the wedding.
There were problems before.
Kosher at law, right?
About what, I'm sorry?
keeping kosher,
About keeping kosher, yes.
right?
The government
And your
law.
wedding, at your wedding was the groom's family, the Markel family, and they are more strict than your family and friends about keeping kosher.
They do not keep kosher.
Wasn't that one of the problems in your marriage, that Professor Markel was very insistent about keeping kosher?
About his kosher rules, but those are different than his family's.
So you're saying that it wasn't a problem at the wedding, that there were people from the groom's side of the family that were there that strictly keep kosher, that they were told that it was going to be kosher food, but it actually wasn't?
So there was a misunderstanding about whether the food was going to be kosher style or more in adherence with kosher law. There was a miscommunication about that.
So
That
you had
happened.
people that strictly keep kosher eating non-kosher food.
Yeah, there was a miscommunication about that. Dan said, listen, it's really important that we have kosher food at the wedding. At least a kosher option, a kosher buffet. You know, just please, we need to have, I've got my rabbi coming to officiate the marriage, and he will flip if there's not kosher food. And Wendi heard, yes, this communication was mixed. I think we'll have a kosher style menu, right? So it's like kosher, but everything is shrimp. It's shrimp and sausage only. Shrimp and sausage. In fact, we're having shrimp and sausage stuffed with bacon. Shrimp and sausage stuffed with bacon. But in a kosher way, you know, the style.
Which is a big deal.
That actually is not what happened. Danny was upset that it was kosher style and not strictly adhering to kosher law. So he was disappointed.
So there's problems right from the beginning.
That was a problem at our wedding, yeah.
Fast forward now to September 10th, 2012. Professor Markel, he's away on a business trip, right?
Yes,
He's in New York City at New York University, right?
I believe so, yes.
And he's doing a presentation.
I don't know what he was doing.
Your
was called to be a witness and I'm testifying.
Okay, he made the joke right before, and he should be entitled to know.
Or more an adherent.
Professor Markel, he's away on a business trip, right?
Yes.
He's in New York City at New York.
Hey, I think we're back now. Sorry, guys, we lost internet. There's a rainstorm happening, so maybe that had something to do with it. I think we're back now. Can everyone, is everyone here? Am I here? Am I there? Am I with you?
University, right?
I believe so, yes.
And he's
Okay, thanks, Veronica. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Pie Bird, Neverly Darling riding shotgun. Yes, she is. Marianne, Brooklyn Bridge.
doing a presentation.
I don't know what he was doing.
Your husband at the time was in New York to give a presentation. You knew that, right?
I knew he was in New York. I didn't know if he was attending a conference or giving a presentation, but he was in New York for work.
Now, you had not
Well, he'd be giving a presentation at a conference, surely. But, you know.
communicated with him for 2 days.
I really don't remember.
You text him at around 2:30 in the afternoon, right? Right before he's about to do the presentation.
I really don't remember.
But you do remember dropping the bomb on him, don't you?
You do remember dropping the bomb on him, don't you? Telling him, leaving the divorce papers on the bed and taking all his stuff. Taking all of his favorite stuff.
That you wanted a divorce.
So I did not drop a bomb on him. We'd been in therapy for several months beforehand where I told him several times I wanted.
Had they actually been in therapy? I haven't had that denied or refuted, but I don't believe it to be true. Who verifies that? Does anybody know? I don't believe that's true. The way she says it has all the hallmarks of a Wendi Adelson bag of shit lie.
The divorce.
You say it's not a bomb, but you agree with me that he begged.
Let's just see that again. Ah.
Him at around 2:30 in the afternoon, right? Right before he's about to do the presentation.
I really don't remember.
But you do remember dropping the bomb on him, don't you? Telling him that you wanted a divorce.
So I did not drop a bomb on him. We'd been in therapy for several months beforehand where I told him several times I wanted a divorce.
You say it's not a bomb, but you agree with me that he begged you to reconsider.
He was very upset and yes, wanted me to reconsider, but
in that phone call, he's begging you to reconsider. Please don't leave. Please don't break up our family, right?
He was very upset, yes.
Okay, YouTube replier says, yes, they went to counseling. Okay, YouTube replier, but how do we know that? Who's verified that we can trust? Do you have this information? If you do, please share it with me.
And he was heartbroken. I mean, upset indicates that there was anger. What he was heartbroken, right?
That I decided to divorce him after telling him I would, yes.
Despite being at NYU for a presentation, he rushes home. He gets on the next flight, right?
I honestly don't remember if he got on the next flight, but he did come home quickly.
2:30 he finds out in New York. By 11 p.m. he's walking in the door to your old house at Trescott Drive, right?
I don't know.
But you do know that when he walks in the house, what he finds. You know that, right?
Yes, I left him the papers.
You left the divorce papers on the bed.
Now, Ruth Markel tells us that they were in therapy. Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Half the furniture was gone.
Half the furniture was not gone.
A good amount of his stuff was gone.
Nothing of his was gone.
The boys' stuff was gone, right?
Some of the boys' things were gone. I'd taken enough so that I had for the boys, but no.
You were gone.
I was gone, yes.
And so were his boys.
His boys were not gone. He saw them the next day, and they would
Lie. He didn't see them the next day.
not have been awake if
They were down in Miami being stuffed with paella. Just extra shrimp paella.
he's coming home at 11 p.m.
Let's stay on topic here.
I'd
When
love
he
to stay on
walks in the
topic.
when he walks in the door, the boys are not in the house, right?
Correct.
And you did not tell Professor Markel where you were taking the boys. He may have seen them the next day, but you did not let him know where you were going to be staying with his boys.
With our boys? Yes.
So you agree with me that they're also his.
Of course they're his.
And he should be entitled to know where his wife is taking his children.
Absolutely.
That's not all you took, is it?
Excuse me?
You two had a joint checking account at Schwab, right?
We did.
And you went into that account before you dropped the bomb, and you took out half of that account, right?
Correct.
Roughly $350,000.
Half, yes, of our joint account.
$350,000.
I don't remember the amount, but yes.
You know that it was in the hundreds of thousands.
I really don't remember the amount, sir.
Is it that insignificant of a sum to you that you
I'm
don't
not saying
remember?
it's an insignificant sum. I'm saying I can't attest to.
Yes, I'm going to leave the divorce papers on the bed, disappear out of town when you're on a business trip, put the boys and myself into hiding, take all of your dining room chairs, take all of your anything of value that I just like, and yeah, I'm also going to take $350,000 from the bank. Okay. So if you could just sign those papers and have your people contact my people, we'll be able to draw a line under this. And by the way, we're moving to Miami because we need paella every single day. Okay. And when we're not eating paella, we'll be eating sushi. Okay. The shellfish kind of sushi every day.
The amount that was there.
I'm going to tone it down now. You were unhappy in the marriage, right?
That's why I got divorced, yes.
And it happens. Marriages fall apart, right?
Yes.
But you complained constantly about it, didn't you?
No, I don't think I complained constantly.
To anyone that would listen.
Really? Really? You don't think you complained constantly? I wish we could just have a double witness stand. Like Jeff and Wendi on either side of the judge. And Christopher DeCoste could just switch now, like Jerry Springer. Just go straight over to Jeff and just say, Mr. Lacasse, isn't it true, sir, that you said that Wendi wouldn't shut her fucking mouth about how much she hated Tallahassee and how she hated Dan Markel? You know, I didn't complain all the time. Okay.
Listen,
No, that's not true.
you agree with me that you complained to the one person that would actually do something about it.
I don't understand what you're asking.
Your big brother, Charles Adelson, you complained to him about how bad Professor Markel was and how much you hate.
Remember, guys, anytime we watch Tara Kawas or Christopher DeCoste, as much as I'm sure we all get, revel in watching Christopher DeCoste not buy into Wendi Adelson's bullshit, and give her a much needed grilling. That's refreshing to watch. It's the closest we've come to justice as far as Wendi's concerned. But it's important that we always watch it through the lens, especially when either one of them, Kawas or DeCoste, mention Charlie Adelson. Because are they here purely on behalf of Katherine Magbanua, or are they here to protect Charlie Adelson and the extended Adelson plotting family? Surely that would be a concern if they were on the payroll from the Adelson Institute. So it's an interesting tactic if that is, and one I haven't quite finished mapping out, but there is a sense, because every time, they're basically saying Charlie did this all, right? But and why would someone whose ultimate goal is to defend Charlie Adelson by proxy in Catherine's trial, right? Charlie's not on trial here. But you let your boys hang out with your murdering brother who's now sitting in jail for first-degree murder. Yeah. Okay, so my point is, if they defend Katherine by throwing Charlie under the bus, and Katherine is found guilty, does it make the argument that they were making, i.e., it was all Charlie, does it make it seem like that argument is farcical and a fantasy and, just a lie? If the key argument of Katherine Magbanua's defense is that it was all Charlie, and then Katherine is found guilty, meaning her defense was a load of shit, whatever it was, right? I mean, forget what the defense is. If any defendant is found guilty, right, it means that their defense was a load of shit. And it was all lies. They were trying to get out of trouble, blah, 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 blah. You see? So it's like a double win for Charlie, as far as they think, right, at the moment. Because if they're saying, yeah, you told someone who would do something about it, your evil dentist brother, didn't you? You told your evil dentist brother, didn't you? Because that's what he does, because he's a fixer, And then Katherine goes down. It's like, well, that they came up with any story. They were reaching. It has no water. It doesn't hold water. It's interesting.
Hated him and didn't want to be in a marriage with him.
I definitely talked to my brother about how unhappy I was in my marriage. If that's the question, then yes. Is that the question?
Yes, that is a question. You talked to your brother, Charles Adelson, about how bad your marriage was.
I did, yes.
Let's talk about it. Government.
Has my audio just changed? Does it sound better now, or louder, or not as loud? Because I just forgot to switch this mic. It doesn't stay on the mic. But let me know if that's all good, guys.
I asked you about Charles Adelson. He's an intelligent guy, right?
He is smart.
Yeah. He's both book smart and street smart, right?
I would say so.
You would say that he's a talker.
He does like to talk.
He's got the gift of gab, so to speak.
I wouldn't say he's the gift of gab, but he does talk.
He knows what to say in the moment.
Mod Squad t-shirts, huh? True Crime Metrix Mod Squad or just Mod Squad? It's got to be True Crime Metrix Mod Squad, right? For the official moderator uniform. Yes. I want name tags and hats with some kind of cartoon character, a mascot. What would our mascot be?
I wouldn't say that's true either.
You would say, though, that he is. Now, you were asked questions about, drug purchasing and stuff like that. You'd agree with me that he's also street smart.
I mean, I think he has common sense.
And that he lives life to a certain extent on both sides of the track.
I think he has common sense. I think he has common sense. What kind of there's a fucking ringing endorsement, isn't it? You would hope so if he's operating on people's mouths. You'd hope he had a bit more than common sense, really, wouldn't you? Yes. Okay, spit, rinse.
During the day, he's doing periodontal work, whatever that is, crowns, root canals, whatever that is. He's doing that during the day. At night, he's out with friends, he's buying drugs. He's living life on both sides of the tracks.
I don't know about that he's out buying drugs.
Now, let's talk for a second about WhatsApp. And as an aside here for a second, the government asked you the question if you used WhatsApp, right? You remember that?
I remember them asking me, yes.
On the day that Professor Markel was killed, you went in for the interview, right?
I talked to the police.
And you also gave them your phone for them to inspect.
Absolutely.
So the determination of what, if any, WhatsApp was being used, they would have from the download they did that day of your phone.
Sure.
Now, would you be surprised to learn that your brother used WhatsApp?
No.
Thanks, Derek. Let's try and turn that down then. How's that? Is that better?
You would agree with me that WhatsApp, and you explained it well, is end-to-end encryption.
Correct.
In your lay opinion,
Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that lamb did go, no, and everywhere that Mary went, that lamb was sure to go.
Opinion, if you can explain to the jurors, just in case they don't know, what that means.
I know that it's something we use at my work because essentially it has the ability to keep things more private. I also know that nothing's actually private and that anyone who wants to can uncode the messages. So that's what we tell people at our work.
Lies. That's not what you tell people at your work. Why would you tell people that at work? Hey, listen, colleagues, we're going to give you this app, right? And the great thing about this app is that it's secure and it's end-to-end encrypted. But also, you should know that it's not secure and that anyone who wants to can read messages. Yeah, you really tell people that at your work, don't you?
So the thought is with WhatsApp, if I use my phone and I call somebody, the call could be listened to. If I text somebody, it's recordable, right?
I think so.
But with WhatsApp, you can send messages or have phone calls where there's no record of it.
I don't think that's true. I think there is still a record of it.
But the belief and the thought, I'll withdraw that question. Your lay understanding, though, is that the footprint that it leaves is much less than that of normal communications.
I think it's different, but I think it still leaves a digital footprint that's easily uncodable.
If you were to send a WhatsApp message to Ms. Kappelman, it would show that a message was sent, but it would be hard to get what the content of the message is.
I don't think that's true.
All right. Let's talk about your brother's jokes now. You don't deny that he joked about hiring a hitman.
He did.
You don't deny that he repeated this joke.
He did.
And he made this joke right before a hitman murdered Professor Markel.
I don't know that to be true.
Okay. He made the joke right before.
Yeah, we still don't know if it was a hitman or not, Wendy. It could have been the no-nonsense rabbis. It could have been Jeff Lacasse or a student that Danny gave a bad grade to.
And I'll leave out the hitman part. Professor Markel was killed.
He made the joke the morning that I talked to him.
Can you think of one person in this world that would actually hire two people to go kill Professor Markel other than your family?
I don't know.
Ms. Adelson, please address me and answer the
It
question.
calls for an unbelievable amount of speculation. I mean,
Yeah, I'm sure you'd love to. I'd love to answer your question, but I'm not going to. I mean, I could, but I won't. And I don't have to because I've just objected. And I love how Judge Wheeler, I hate how we can't see him, but I just imagine him up there looking at her going, what are you looking at me for? You're not counsel in this matter, Miss Adelson. Answer the question.
I'm responsible for coming up with, that's the prosecutor's duty, no? To figure out who's responsible.
You just said a moment ago that...
Yeah, they've figured it out, Wendy. They've figured it out. They've got a big board, a big whiteboard in their office, your picture in the middle, right? And then a little red string coming off it in different directions to a picture of Charlie, Donna, and Harvey. And then by extension, Katie, Louis, and Sigfredo. Okay? That they've figured it out. And now we're in the process of coming to get you. Yeah? And we've got a nice little hotel lined up for you, Wendy. It's called the Concrete Shitbox. And great news. You are staying in a room next to a toilet with no seat, which will be the only toilet you will use. The water will taste like disinfected piss. Okay? The water will taste like disinfected piss. The highlight meal of the year will be your Christmas dinner, which is a piece of plastic turkey ham served on an old, dry, cold, stewed to fuck piece of broccoli. That's it. That's your Christmas special once a year, and you'll learn to love it.
You disagree that hitman killed Professor Markel. That's what you said, right? So my question to you is, if you're able to say, well, it wasn't hitman, then who? Tell this jury. Who on this planet would have wanted to kill Professor Markel?
I have no idea.
All right. Let's get into that a little bit.
I have no idea, you know. I didn't financially benefit in any way. And, you know, apart from the $2 million that is released to me and, you know, that I get to spend on myself because my parents, they're basically raising my boys and they pay for everything as well. And the 350 grand that I took from the checking account plus his 401k, that comes to me. Of course, his checking account, 15 grand, did have to go to the funeral expenses. And what else did she get? Yeah, the $4,800 a month that I get for bereaved children. Yeah, that's not a benefit. That's how I pay the taxes. That's how I pay the taxes. What?
But I want to make sure that's clear. This joke is made right before Professor Markel is murdered, right?
The joke was made many times.
It was made right before Professor Markel was murdered. Yes or no?
Yes.
July 18, 2014, you're interviewed, and you make a statement saying, I knew this would happen. You said that, right?
I did.
All right. Now I want to talk about your knowledge and your belief on this. You're a smart person, right?
How am I supposed to answer that?
Well, let's go through your resume. You went to Brandeis University, right?
I did.
You graduated magna cum laude.
I did.
If you could explain to the jury what that means.
It means I studied a lot and got good grades.
All right. It means, and to speak, I'm from the Northeast. My Boston accent may give it away. It means you're wicked smart, right?
That's very
You had a
nice.
high
Thank
GPA,
you.
a very high GPA.
Boston accent. I didn't notice he had a Boston accent. I mean, a little bit when he said wicked smart, but, you know, it's not a strong Boston accent. I saw Good Will Hunting. It was a waste of time. I couldn't understand a word they were saying. You know, it's like, that's a Boston accent.
Work hard.
You also went and you got a master's degree from the University of Cambridge.
I did.
You were a Gates Scholar.
I was.
You then go to the University of Miami School of Law, which is a top-tier law school, Tier 1, right?
Okay.
Right? We're talking about your level of intelligence. You went to the University of Miami Law School, right?
I did, yes.
You also clerked at the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, right?
I did.
Now, to get a clerkship out of law school, it's a very difficult thing to do, right?
It's challenging.
You have to have top grades. You have to go through a rigorous selection process, right?
Yes.
You then become a professor at the Florida State University College of Law, right?
Yes.
You're also a published author, right?
Now you're just embarrassing me.
Why are you embarrassed that you're a published author?
I don't like talking about myself.
Is it because the book that you wrote discredited Tallahassee and spoke ill of it?
The book did not discredit Tallahassee. It wasn't about Tallahassee.
Let's stay.
Just a question, guys. And I know we're at a key moment here. Now you're just embarrassing me. Ha 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 ha. I don't like talking about myself, really. But, you know, just to explain here, there's a microphone, okay? There's this really cool microphone right here. But the audio from the video that I'm watching here is just playing into the room. So does it sound like on the stream that you're watching that the audio is doubling, like playing through my speakers and then going into the mic? Because I think it just cancels that out, right? But I'm not sure. I mean, does everything sound clear, or does it sound like a double audio thing going on? And what are the levels like? I just turned them down, like what Derek said. Are the levels good now?
Stay on topic and ask a question again with everything that we just went through. You're a smart woman, right?
I am a smart woman.
There's information about this case.
Yeah, I'm a smart woman. I'm a smart woman as well. I'm a smart, ruthless woman with no empathy, vindictive nature. It's incredibly selfish. Yeah, but I did go to the University of Miami where I learned how to be queen bitch.
Everywhere. You'd agree with me on that, right?
I'd been advised by my lawyer not to read it.
Thanks, Amy, for letting us know.
All right. Now, we're not talking about reading stuff. There's podcasts,
Also not to listen,
TV shows,
also not to watch.
articles.
Don't read.
And so you've made the decision. Now, you're a lawyer yourself too, right?
I am.
And you made the decision, I'm not going to look at any of this stuff.
Correct.
I don't want to know what happened to the father of my 2 children.
Not I don't want to know what happened.
How can you say you love those boys if you don't care who killed the father that they loved?
Of course I care who killed the father that they loved.
Then why won't you look at the stuff?
I've been advised not to.
Are you afraid that when you look at it, you're going to realize that your brother did this?
I am not afraid of that.
Now, of course, you've, and we won't get into privileged communications, but you've spoken to your lawyer about the case.
How are we not getting into privileged communications? Yes, I've spoken to my lawyer about the case.
You're very intelligent. You have one of the top defense attorneys in the country.
Yeah, the court is on max volume, but it's low on the original. I'm redoing the audio for another video because all these videos from the Tallahassee Democrat, there's this buzz in the background. I'm trying to put it through some sound software and get it sorted out and then upload clear audio. I think it's going to be a hit. But we're gonna but I can turn my mic down some more if that brings it to the same level as the court. I'm turning it down now. I think we're lower now. Let's try that.
Former federal prosecutor John Lohr, right there in the blue suit, right?
He is my attorney.
You're telling me with all of this at your disposal, your intelligence, his experience, and all this information, that you don't care to find out who it is that killed Professor Markel?
This is not that I don't care to find out. My job is to take care of those boys, and that is what I do. I don't see how it helps take care of them to go reading and watching and soaking up all of the horrible information that's out there.
You don't realize that you could be helpful in finally untangling this to give this jury the truth about what happened to Professor Markel?
I have been nothing but helpful since this started.
To what happened to their son? By you looking at it, you are at the center of all this, but you won't look at anything to help in the process.
I've done nothing but help in this process.
You came here and testified.
I came here and testified. I spoke to the police for 6 hours without anyone present. I signed over my cell phone, my car, my house, everything, my computer. What else do I have or know that you haven't seen?
You came here because you were subpoenaed and had no choice.
Correct.
Right?
This is not fun. I would not do this by choice.
You've been
mute whenever I'm not talking. That's risky, man. That's like I'll forget to put it on. Is that going to make a big difference? I mean, people are saying it's okay. I have to ride the mute button. Oh, man. Well, I do have this really cool mute button on this nice new microphone now. It's just, that's a lot of like extra stuff for my brain to handle. Let's try it and see how we go.
An inconvenience.
I've not been inconvenienced.
Professor Markel was shot in the head.
I'm not complaining about being here. This is my duty. I'm here.
We'll get back to you complaining about being here. Do you honestly expect this jury to believe that you haven't confronted your brother about all of this?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you did confront him?
Yes, I do expect them to believe that I did not confront my brother because I didn't.
Or maybe you don't need to because you know the truth in this case. You already know it. That he went behind your back, right?
Did not happen.
Just like he has done with past boyfriends. He's done that in the past where he's gone behind your back.
Okay, we lowered the audio on the microphone and we did mute on the last segment that was playing from the court. We're going to go on to mute again now.
When you were having problems in a relationship and dealt with it himself.
No.
Miss Adelson.
Okay, Derek wants to hear the snoring of the dog. Okay, good, because that I know it's just an extra button to press, but I've got to pause the video, press mute. I'm using both hands and think of things to say. I mean, it's a lot. You try it. It's a lot. Okay, we're going to leave the mute button for now. If anyone has if it gets really bad, just let me know.
You understand that until you expose your brother what he did, that everybody's going to consider you as guilty. You understand that, right?
What is the question that you're asking me?
You understand that until you expose your brother and explain what he did, that he went behind everybody's back, that he hired a hitman to murder your ex-husband, you'll remain guilty in the eyes of the world.
I can't speak to the eyes of the world. I can only know that I have done nothing wrong.
Or maybe you are guilty.
I am not guilty.
So, a witness in this case, and I'm not going to get into their testimony, but one of the hitmen, the convicted hitman, implicates you. On July 17, 2014, the day before the murder, the morning before,
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I think that's the general consensus now that, we need to hear the dog in the background from time to time. By the way, it is Soap's birthday today, but not really official until we go to sleep and wake up. So it's big present time tomorrow. I'll try and upload some kind of video of her wearing a party hat, opening a present.
He says that you were walking on Trescott with the two boys, that you walked down the driveway and into the house.
That never happened.
Right, because Professor Markel, I apologize, Professor Markel.
Oh, KLK, you still hear the almonds when I'm eating almonds? I try and do that really away from the microphone because I know listening to someone chew almonds isn't very good for anybody.
He had the kids based on the way that your guy's schedule was. On that day, he would have had the children in the morning, and you're going through such a bad divorce, you wouldn't be at his house, right?
I wouldn't be at his house anyway, but not because we were going through a bad divorce. At that time, things were pretty copacetic.
All right, so we're coming back.
Okay. Everyone break something. Break something in your house right now. She just said copacetic. Just grab something and throw it at a wall. Don't operate any heavy machinery in the next 45 minutes. Give yourself a break.
Maybe you do know, or maybe you were involved.
Excuse me? What's the question that you're asking me?
I'm giving you a header of what we're talking about so that it will ease you in the question, okay? I'm just telling you what the topic that we're on, so we'll get to a question. Now, the government asked you about a time that you met Ms. Magbanua. It was actually spring break of March 2014, right?
I believe so.
You went down to Miami. You stayed with your brother, Charles.
I went down to Fort Lauderdale after being in Immokalee and stayed with my brother.
You then went to Miami Beach to Yardbird and had dinner outside with your boyfriend at the time, or who you were dating, Jeffrey DeCoste. Katherine Magbanua was there, and your brother, Charles Adelson, and you all ate outside, right?
We did.
And that's on Miami Beach, not in Fort Lauderdale.
Correct.
Now, just for context, Jeffrey DeCoste, he was also an FSU professor, not at the law school, but an FSU professor. Nice guy, right?
I don't think so now.
Now, you deny.
Why not, Wendy? Why don't you think he's a nice guy? Because he flew into a rage? Because he grabbed your phone and started talking in legal terms? I have evidence. He turned all red. He turned all red. He went through my phone and he said if he found one message from Professor Markel, then he was a dead man. And then he stormed out of the hotel and got into his car, and I saw him driving north to Tallahassee. Oh, poor Jeff.
I'm assuming that on July 13, 2014, you told Jeffrey DeCoste that Charles looked into hiring a hitman. You deny that, or you admit that?
I deny that.
And that you told him that Charles looked into hiring a hitman back in September of 2013.
That never happened.
Which would have been months before your brother even met Katherine.
Yeah, Tracy, truth be told, I am sick to death of looking at this woman. But we did a poll on the other video the other night, and the consensus was that we needed to cover Wendy's testimonies. So here we are, damaging our mental health, our collective mental health, looking at this fucktard on the stand again, in that stupid fucktard dress again, with that stupid hair and that stupid look of incredulousness. Ugh, just want to strangle her, but my hands aren't big enough to fit around her fat fucking neck.
Magbanua.
I don't remember when they met.
Letting you know the topic we're on, we're talking about you being in.
And that's more of a comment on her neck than my hands. I don't have small hands.
That same week, earlier in the week, you sent an email. We're talking about the week of the murder now, not spring break, the week of the murder, not Yardbird, the week of the murder. You sent an email to Jeffrey DeCoste saying that you wanted to break up, that you needed space, right?
I did.
Sent him a long email, stay away, we're broken up, right?
I did.
You knew July 18, 2014, Jeffrey DeCoste was leaving town to go on a trip, right?
I knew he was leaving at some point that week. I don't remember when.
You knew that he was leaving on the same day of the murder at the same exact time as the murder.
I don't think I did.
11 a.m. on July 18, 2014.
I don't think I knew when he was leaving town.
It's a good way to put the blame onto somebody else. You'd agree on that, right? If it happened, it would have been a good way to put the blame on somebody else.
I have no idea when he was going to leave town.
Your interview, July 18, 2014, you said, you know, my brother, he joked about hiring a hitman. Perhaps that was you just planting a seed to divert the attention of law enforcement away from you.
It was not.
Let's jump off topic right now and talk about your boys' names. That in the time after the murder, you changed their last names from Markel to Adelson, right?
A year later, yes.
Why?
I was scared
Of what?
of someone coming to attack them.
So it's a year later, you won't look at anything
Thanks, Clarissa.
because you don't want to know what's going on in the case. And the thought is, well, they're going to be protected if they have my last name and not Markel, right?
Yes.
Now, years later, arrests are made. It's clear who committed the murder, Sigfredo Garcia, Luis Rivera. The Adelson name has been dragged through the mud. Why haven't you continued to protect your boys and changed the name back?
I will be changing I'm not going to change the name back. I don't think that will help. One day I'll change all of our names.
The government asked you about immunity, so let's get into that. You explained that as an attorney, you understand that when the government gives a subpoena for somebody to testify, that it conveys immunity, right?
That's my understanding. My knowledge of criminal law dates back to 2003 when I took a semester in law school. So forgive me.
Graduated law school, right?
This isn't my area of law.
When you clerked on the 11th Circuit, it was with Judge Jordan, right?
I did immigration appeals.
Yeah, but you still dealt with criminal stuff as well, too.
Very little.
So your understanding, though, is it doesn't mean they can't arrest you. They just can't use what you say here against you later on. So you're protected.
Correct.
And you needed that to testify, right?
It's just given to testify. It's not a question of whether I needed it. It comes with testifying.
You fear being charged by them, so you need to have that protection of
I
your
don't
words.
fear being charged for a crime I didn't commit, no.
Now, y'all had this nice exchange where it was pleasant, but there's actually tension between you and this office, right?
No,
They recently had your brother, Charles Adelson, arrested, and he's in custody, right?
correct,
For first-degree murder.
correct.
And there's no tension?
It's very uncomfortable to be here. It's hard to tell where the tension is coming from.
They've discussed your involvement.
It's coming from all angles, Wendy, okay? It's coming from the prosecution table. It's coming from the defense table. The judge doesn't like you. The jury don't like you. The Markels are death staring you right now from the gallery. All the people in the gallery are thinking, she's guilty. She's so guilty. All the people are watching online. They're all thinking, she's guilty. There's a lot of tension here, Wendi. All angles.
In this case, they insinuated on the direct examination. There's no tension.
Lots of media insinuates that I did something I didn't do too. I can't feel tension towards every person in the world.
That's funny. I thought you didn't look at anything.
I don't, that's why.
But you know that you know about the media, but you don't know about the media?
I know about the media because it keeps me from employment. It keeps me from lots of things in my life. I'm aware of what's there, but I don't read the minutia so I can sleep at night.
I don't know why they never follow this up, and maybe it would be a relevance question, but I'd be like, what employment has it kept you from? You know, what is the last job that you were denied because of this case? You know, are you even looking for work or just spending all of Professor Markel's money? You know?
Listen, 5 minutes ago you said you don't look at any of that stuff. Now I
don't
ask you a
look at
question.
it.
Let me finish.
Sure.
5 minutes ago you say you don't look at any of that stuff. Now I ask you a question, you say you look at stuff.
That's not actually what I said. I said I'm aware that it exists, but I don't read it. I don't listen to it.
Then how do you know that they're bashing you?
You just told me they are.
I did?
Yeah.
How about this? We'll come back to it. You can think up a better answer, okay?
I'm not thinking up an answer. I'm telling you the truth. I'm sorry if you don't want to listen to it.
Your basic understanding of criminal law, though, you know that if the defense gives you a subpoena, you get no immunity.
Correct.
Objection, improper question.
I'm not going beyond that question.
All right, that's the only question you can ask on that.
If I give you a subpoena, you don't get immunity, right?
Correct.
Let's talk about your parents. The government asked you about your mother and father, Donna and Harvey, right? The government could do the same and subpoena them so that this jury can watch them get questioned, not nicely how Ms. Kaplan questioned you, but to be cross-examined by me.
But to be cross-examined by me. Nice. No, I like it when DeCoste talks tough, you know? Not to be questioned nicely like Miss Kappelman did with you, but to be cross-examined by me. By Big DeCoste. People call me DeCoste the Devil.
Objection, improper question.
I'm going to sustain that. Ask a different question.
Are your parents here in Tallahassee right now?
No.
Are they back in Miami?
Yes.
Do they have any?
Yeah, they're not in Tallahassee. They're really not crazy about the smell. And, you know, there's not a building in Tallahassee tall enough for them to live in. So what would they do here? They don't go to Hooters, and you know, they have sushi withdrawal if they can't eat a $15 piece of raw fish every 6 hours. So, you know, it's pretty much a no-go around here.
Plans of coming here this week or next?
I don't think so.
No. Your family dynamic. It is your mother and father, Harvey and Donna. There's you, you're the youngest, Charles, and then the oldest, Robert. Right?
Correct.
And he's a doctor up in New York.
Correct.
Now, the government asked you about the relationship, and you're like, we don't talk much. It's actually much deeper than that with Robert, isn't it?
We don't talk
At all.
at all.
And the reason is because your parents were so difficult about the woman that is now his wife.
That is not the reason why we don't talk.
I'm not talking about the reason why you don't talk. Let me clarify it. The reason why your parents don't talk to him.
That's not the reason why they don't talk with him.
Are you saying to this jury that there wasn't a problem where they outright objected to his marriage of a woman that was not of the Jewish faith?
That was initially what happened, and then there was actually a beautiful reconciliation, and they're very happy about the marriage.
Robert and his wife, not your family.
What?
Robert and his wife and our family were.
Was it because she was not of the Jewish faith, or was it because she was brown? You know, that's not going to look good at family functions. We're all white and you know, Jewish by genes only. And we can't have an Indian woman in family pictures. It wouldn't look right.
What happens is that Robert is in love with a woman. Your parents object. He breaks up with her and then dates a Jewish woman, right?
And then they got married and divorced, and then he got back together with the person he wanted to be married to. Yes.
With his true love.
Yes.
But there was a lot of tension in your family because of your family's involvement in the kids' marriages, right?
Yes.
Let's talk briefly about your children. The government had asked you in the topic of the Jewish faith, keeping kosher. You mentioned a bat mitzvah at one point in time. You're currently planning a bat mitzvah for your oldest, right?
No, it already happened.
Okay, now that is a very, Christopher, I'm obviously not Jewish, but my understanding is that it.
Yeah, it already happened. You see, it was planned, and then we invited the Markels, and then Charlie got arrested. And then we said to the Markels that we're cancelling the bar mitzvah, or we're postponing it. And then we had it anyway.
Is a very, very important thing in the Jewish faith.
It's a very important milestone.
And for those that are very conservative in the Jewish faith, those that keep kosher, so to speak, it's even bigger.
I don't know that it's more important to one segment of Judaism over another, but it's an important coming of age ceremony.
It's where a boy becomes a man. Did you invite Dan Markel's parents, the kids' grandparents?
I did.
You invited them?
I invited them, yes.
When was the last time they saw face-to-face their grandchildren?
April 20th,
Of this year?
just now.
And you agree with me that it had been years
Is that her birthday, April 20th?
since 2016, since the last time they had seen them.
The visit stopped when they threatened to put my children in foster care, yes, but up until that point, they did have visits.
You got no problem letting them see your brother Charles, right?
I'm sorry?
You have no problem letting them hang out with your brother Charles, who's now sitting in custody for first-degree murder.
Well, they can't see him now, can they?
No, they can't, but I'll ask the questions. For years, they weren't able to see their grandchildren despite their pleading to you to see them. But you let them, let me finish, but you let them hang out with your murdering brother, right?
The children were permitted to see their grandparents. I cooked for them. We had play dates. They had sleepovers. When a letter surfaced that they were trying to have my children placed in foster care, the visits stopped. My brother never threatened to put my children in foster care, and if he had, the visits would have stopped with him too.
You say you love your boys.
I do say I love my children.
Don't care about the father that they loved. What
I
happened?
never said that I don't care about the father that they
Then
loved.
look at some of the discovery and help figure it out.
Excuse me?
Then look at some of the evidence and help figure it out so that more lives aren't ruined by this.
I seem to
Mr.
not
DeCoste,
understand.
you need to ask a question now. You're making statements now. You need to ask a question.
Understood, Your Honor. If I could have one brief second to check with co-counsel. Ms. Adelson, we started this by saying that this is all about you. It started with you because of this marriage, right?
No. Well, you had tried to say that, but I don't agree.
Ms. Adelson, I'm going to make one final attempt through questions to implore you. You understand that you can't protect your brother Charles, who's going through this case, and protect yourself at the same time. You understand that, right?
I'm here to share the truth with you. I don't know how to answer the question.
Then please end the madness and share the truth. Will you please share the truth with this jury?
I've been sharing the truth since I walked in here. I've done nothing but share the truth.
You know what happened here, despite your claims to the jury that you haven't looked at anything, you haven't discussed with anybody, and you haven't confronted your brother. You know what happened here, right?
I do not know what happened here, and if I did, I would have shared it with the police 8 years ago.
You know that your brother.
Would you have shared it with the police before or after you were cackling and giggling like a little schoolgirl, making fun of rabbis' names and, flirting with the detectives and the victim advocate all at the same time? Remember Mr. Buff? Who are you? Oh, you're Mr. Buff? Well, I'm Wendi Adelson. Yeah, would you have let the detectives know before or after you met Mr. Buff?
You know that your brother went behind your back, don't you?
I do not.
Like he always does. This is something that he has always done, isn't it?
Not.
Oh, look. Hey, top of the hour, too sweet to be sour. It's a great time to get those coffees rolling in to buymeacoffee.com. And don't forget, it's Soap's birthday, so if you want to send a little extra cappuccino to Soap, that's very much appreciated. I'm thinking something from Java. Java or Sumatra, or where else do they make coffee? Costa Rica, Brazil. So, do you want to roast your own beans or just get a decaf? Yes, I think that would be a good decaf. Don't forget, a great place to support the channel this month, guys, is buymeacoffee.com. Link in the description. Also, Patreon memberships are now available with fantastic merch benefits, with fantastic private content. And what else have we got? We've got social networks, YouTube memberships. We've also got on the stream tonight, we've got super thanks, super likes, super chat, super stickers, super YouTubes. Subscribe to the channel, like, share, leave a comment. And Discord, link to Discord in the description for the video. Always great to see new members coming into Discord. Discord's free. It's an open place. It's like a really fancy chat room for everybody just to hang out and talk crime when there's no show running. Yeah, that's what it is. We are going to find time to work on our plug soon, Derek, with that fantastic tune you've put together. I'm looking forward to sitting down and coming up with something to not have to speak the plug all the time. That'd be great, and I'm sure for everybody. But in the meantime, if you want to head over to buymeacoffee.com, that'd be great, and we thank you very much.
You found out after that your brother had done this and gone behind your back. That's why you were thrown up at that dinner, right?
No, it's not.
You know that it didn't involve Katie either, right?
Fucking mute button again. Yeah, big topic coming out on the Metrix channel soon about the Uvia dinner, folks. Big topic for discussion about the Uvia dinner. No one's going to want to miss that video. That is going to be the best video on this channel, and it's coming out real soon. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss that. Yeah, still working on it, but it's almost ready. Okay. Very good video coming out on the Metrix platform.
I don't know anything about it.
If you're not going to say all of that and finally give the truth, why don't you just admit to this jury that you're guilty?
Because I'm not guilty.
A brief moment, Your Honor. I got nothing further, Judge.
Redirect.
You were asked about the reason why you stopped contact for a period of time between your ex-husband's parents and your children.
Yes.
And you referenced a letter that you characterized as the grandparents threatening to put the children into foster care. Is that an email that was sent from the Markels to my office?
Yes.
Okay. And that was in reference to, in the event that you and the people that care for these children, who at the time were very young, were arrested, that the grandparents wanted to make sure, because they live in Canada, right?
They do.
They wanted to make sure that a specific organization could be contacted to care for the children, so that someone was there to care for them until a relative could get there.
I don't
Right?
remember the bit about a relative getting there.
Okay, well, they weren't just going to leave them in foster care, right?
I don't know.
Okay. But the specific nature of the email, you will agree, was in the event that there's some kind of mass arrest, because they don't know who's getting ready to go to jail next, right? I mean, they're not privy to the investigation any more than you are, right? Law enforcement investigations, they're secret.
Sure.
Okay. And their concern, would you agree the concern ultimately in the email was for the care of the children?
The concern was to make sure the children were under good care, but as the
Nice little veiled threat there, Georgia. Well done. They're not privy to the investigation any more than you are, Miss Adelson, are they? You don't know who's fixing to go to jail next, either. Do you, Miss Adelson? Law enforcement investigations, they're secret, aren't they, Miss Adelson? We could be looking at anyone. We could be looking at your file right now.
mother, I know they're always under good care with me,
Right, but
and there's no
the
need for
email
foster care.
contemplated you not being available to care for them.
That's not possible.
Because it's not possible for you to get arrested.
Correct, because I've done nothing wrong and I believe in our justice system.
Okay, well, just wanted to clarify the nature of that. In this case, you were asked about, why aren't your parents coming to testify? You, as you mentioned, gave a police interview in this case, right?
Correct.
And consented to the search of your phone, etc. You gave testimony in this case, right?
Yes,
All right, and your parents did not, correct?
they did not give testimony.
They have not testified. They
They've
have
not been
not given a
asked to come
police.
testify, but they would if they were asked.
Okay. And have they given any police interviews?
They would have, but the police never contacted them.
The police did contact them, didn't they? And they refused.
No,
Are they represented by counsel?
they are represented by counsel.
And they're
Yeah, the police contacted them. I spoke, said we're already on the way to Miami, and then I threw my phone into the ocean. And we never heard from them again.
they'll come testify if we want them to.
If they are under state subpoena, just like I was, they would come testify.
All right. And do you know what they would testify to?
They would testify to whatever they know.
And do you know what they know?
I have no idea what they know.
Okay. They've never told you.
No,
You've never asked them
no.
because you never had any conversations with them about this murder.
I've been advised by my counsel not to.
All right. So nobody, including your brother Charlie, has admitted or denied to you any involvement in the murder one way or the other.
Correct.
Same with your parents.
Correct.
All right. One moment, please, Your Honor.
Okay.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank
You
you.
want her subject to recall?
No, sir. She's free to go about her business.
All right, you're free to go. Thank you.
Well, that's it. Look at it go.
All right, let's put Ms. Rodriguez back on the stand and
Was that fucking devil man, John Lauro?
complete her cross-examination. At this point, Mr. DeCoste, are you prepared for that?
Actually, Your Honor,
Man, usually when people say blue suit, they mean it basically looks black in the normal light, but John Lauro's suit is actually very blue. It's almost as blue as Mentor Lawyer's shirt over here.
we're going to waive cross on Ms. Rodriguez. Counsel and I had some conversations. We figured out another way.
Okay,
Thank
all
you.
right. So we've completed the testimony then of Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Has Ms. Rodriguez been informed of that?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Okay, state may call its next witness.
The state calls Officer Bill Brannon.
Bill Brannon, please.
Bill Brannon. I don't know. Should we go on to Wendi 2023? Maybe we should put it to a poll. Or if we get like 3 yeses in uppercase from different people, we'll go on to Wendi 2023. If anyone's still here. Okay, we've got one. In uppercase, Frogazan. Come on. Got to stand by these requirements. Okay, 1. 2. Just need one more. Hey, Kate loves you. Hey, Kate, you never came to the email address. Or Discord. We were all looking forward to hearing about Tallahassee. Then nothing. It's uppercase. All right, that'll do. Miss Adelson. This is all about you, isn't it? There's 100 people in this courtroom, possibly thousands watching. Wendi Adelson 2023. Well, at least we get to see Judge Everett. And at least the 2023 cameras, we get to see the attorneys and George's pretty face as well. So that lightens my mood some. But we've gone way up on the audio here. So how do we do that? I'm going to turn this up. We're going to have to do a test run here, guys. And I'm going to turn my mic up. Maybe like that. So
Ma'am, please say and spell your name.
Wendi Adelson, Wendi.
Is my mic matched with that? There's got to be a way for me to test this on my end rather than having to ask all of you.
Adelson.
Where are you?
Uh-oh. What happened? What happened? The donut of death. Well, we were testing the audio levels, but then this happened. Let's refresh.
Isn't that what you said? Your parents were very angry toward.
Affirm the testimony you're about to give will be true. You may be seated.
Ma'am, please say and spell your name.
Wendi Adelson, Wendi Adelson.
Where are you from, Ms. Adelson?
I'm originally from Coral Springs, Florida.
And where do you live now?
I currently live in Miami.
How are you employed?
Now kind of part-time. I do asylum work and I fundraise for nonprofit organizations.
Are you an attorney?
By training, yes.
Okay. How long have you been a member of the Florida Bar?
Since I graduated and took the bar in 2006.
And are you here today pursuant to a subpoena?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And that subpoena confers use and derivative use immunity to you, so nothing you say can be used against you in the future.
That is correct.
Okay. That doesn't mean you have full immunity from prosecution, but nothing you say here and nothing derived from it could be used in that prosecution. Is that your understanding?
That is my understanding.
Did you know Daniel Markel?
I hate her lipstick. It's like bronze paint, right?
Yes.
How did you know him?
We were married.
When did you meet Mr. Markel?
We met in the fall of
Oh my God. We met in the, let me see, I had just finished my undergrad, 2000, and then we were moving to Washington, D.C., so 2004.
second year of law school, so fall of 2004.
And where did you meet?
We met in Washington, D.C. He was working there, and I was looking into a summer job in Washington.
When did you get married?
In February of 2006.
And when did you live here in Tallahassee?
We lived in Tallahassee my third year of law school, so from August of 2005 until I think around maybe May or June of 2006. And then we moved to Miami for a year because Danny was interested in working at the University of Miami.
Mm-hmm.
He did not get the job at University of Miami, and so we moved back here in 2007 and lived here until 2014.
And where were the two of you employed during the time you lived here in Tallahassee?
I was employed at the FSU Center for Human Rights, and Danny was employed at FSU Law School.
Were you both professors at FSU College of Law?
Yes.
And were you living on Trescott Drive at that time?
When we were married, we lived, I think we rented a house before that, but at some point, maybe in 2008, we moved to Trescott Drive.
And is that the home that he was still living in at the time that he was killed?
That is correct.
Okay, and you were no longer living there, is that correct?
I was no longer living there.
All right, at the time he was killed, you two had children together, yes?
Yes.
And how many children did you have?
We have 2 children.
And what are their ages now?
They are 13 and 14.
What about at the time of their dad's death?
At the time of their dad's death, they were 4 and 3.
When did you separate from Professor Markel?
In the fall of 2012.
Whose decision was it to separate?
It was my decision.
And was part of the reason for the separation the two of you having differing views on how to raise your kids as far as within the Jewish faith?
I mean, it was a small part, but it was part of it.
Okay, that seemed to be something that came up a lot in your communication, so that's why I ask about it. What was the difference of opinion on that?
I mean, when we first met and started dating, Danny wasn't as observant or as religious as he became over time. And so the difference in our perspective on raising kids was about dietary choices and attendance at synagogue, things like that.
So in general, he wanted to raise the children more strictly in terms of the faith than you.
That is correct.
Did you move out of the marital home while Mr. Markel was away on a business trip?
I did, yes.
All right. And did he know that you were moving out when he left for the business trip?
No, he did not.
Where did you go when you left the marital home?
I rented a home in Tallahassee.
Where was that? Do you remember the address?
Aqua Ridge Way.
3303, sound right?
That's right.
Okay. And what was the custody arrangement once you moved out of the marital home?
I mean, in the beginning, until we had a formal custody arrangement, we were just finding ways to share custody. I remember that first weekend his parents came, so I made sure he had the children all weekend while his parents were visiting from Canada. But eventually we had a 50-50 shared custody arrangement.
All right. And do you remember exactly what that looked like? Was it week on, week off, or something more complicated?
It was something more complicated. In the summertime, it was week on, week off. During the weeks, it was I think what they called like a 2-2 split with Wednesday night being an overnight and then the weekends being every other weekend.
All right, but roughly 50-50.
50-50, but that was the split.
Okay. And I want to show you what's been introduced into evidence. States Exhibit 56. I know you've had a chance to take a look at this before, but if you'll just kind of thumb through it and tell me if you recognize it.
Sure.
Do you recognize the exhibit?
I do.
Is it a fair and accurate copy of your divorce file?
It looks like it, yes.
All right. And is it fair to say this was a contentious litigation process that you had with your ex?
It was.
And I want to ask you about a specific filing in there. It's on begins on page 43. And it's in reference to a filing on January 14th of 2013 where you were looking to relocate with the minor children. Do you recall that particular filing?
I recall the filing. You said 43. I'm not sure oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am. On the bottom, there should be page numbers for you.
Yes. Yes, I recognize it.
Okay, and that's the filing in reference to your motion for relocation?
Yes.
Okay, and did you file this motion with the intent to not be successful?
I'm sorry, I don't
It's
understand the
been
question.
suggested that you never thought that was going to be successful. Did you?
I
Or
think
not?
I thought there was a small chance that it would be successful, but not very likely, no.
Okay. And weren't you thinking, well, maybe Danny would be happy working somewhere else because he's mentioned applying elsewhere, so maybe he'll allow the relocation? Were you
Well,
thinking
he and I
that?
talked about the relocation. So when we talked about it, he thought, well, if I can live nearby in Miami, that might work. And then I could commute to FSU. I didn't mean for him to leave FSU, but he wanted to leave FSU at some point. So that
So
was just a matter of time.
So you thought it might be successful.
Sure. I mean, I thought it was possible, but not likely.
All right. And page 46 of that document, paragraph E references the job offer. The wife also desires to relocate to South Florida in order to provide a better quality of life for the children by increasing their access to close family and providing more stability and consistency. Who is the close family in South Florida?
The close family would have been my mom and my dad and my brother.
And which brother is that?
My brother that's here today.
Charlie Adelson?
My brother that's here today. Yeah, the guy that's on trial for murdering the father of my children. That brother. Yeah. You see him right there in the leg irons?
That's correct.
Okay. What's your mom's name?
My mom's name is Donna.
Donna Adelson.
She is kind, loving, and beautiful. She thinks she is stupid, but she won a spelling bee 60 years ago, and we all still talk about it like it's an achievement that matters.
Yes, that's
What
her
a-
name.
What about your dad?
My dad's name is Harvey.
And where did Donna and Harvey live back in the time frame between 2012 and 2016?
They lived at the home I grew up in Coral Springs.
And how far do they live away from you currently as we sit here today?
Currently, depends on Miami traffic, but anywhere between 15 minutes and an hour.
Right. And what kind of a relationship do you have with your parents as we sit here today?
I have a good relationship with my parents.
And has that always been the case?
I would say so.
Can you describe the relationship that your mom has with your boys?
I think it's very loving. I think she's a very dedicated grandmother.
She spends a lot of
Yeah, I think she's a very dedicated grandmother as well. You know, she has them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. She pays for all their shit, takes them to the piano lessons and swings and all the other, you know, how many extracurricular activities do you think these kids do? Fucking, we've got to get to cello. We've got to learn the cello. Everything they do is totally highbrow, right? Have you seen the Wendi Adelson Instagram? How do we pull that up? Let's have a look at that. She's got this thing on there, like study areas for the boys, right? And it's just fucking revolting. It's just like IKEA catalog, winter catalog. Look at this. So this is the Wendi Adelson Pinterest, right? Boys homework desk space. Look at this. This is how Wendi sees her boys doing their homework, right? On this fucking desk here. This soulless, nothing, empty desk. I mean, just God. You know, there's not one bit of any identifiable personality there at all. And I get it that that's not the actual space, but you know her house is exactly like that. This stupid fucking lamp here. Look at this. What's the other one? Well, these are just connected to that image. The other one that she's Pinterested. Look at it. What are all these pop-ups? I don't want to sign up. Well, you get the idea. And then what else have we got here? Recipes. Wendi Adelson recipes. Lean and green meals. Okay, anything kosher here? We've got arroz con pollo. I speak Spanish, okay? I have arroz con pollo. God, there's got to be something with shrimp here. Come on. Shrimp scampi. Or as Chandler Halderson would have it, shrimpless scampi. Okay. With spaghetti squash noodles. Okay. Cheesy potato sausage casserole. That sounds horrible. That surprises me. Oh, that's not hers. That's suggestions. Yeah, Wendi Adelson is not eating cheesy potato sausage casserole. That sounds like a bestseller in Tallahassee, right? Every restaurant, top of the menu item list is cheesy potato sausage casserole. General Isom's in there every day, you know. Yeah, can I get another bowl? Cheesy potato sausage casserole, slow cooked. It's his favorite meal. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Cheesy potato sausage casserole. Okay, back to the video.
time with them, doesn't she?
She does, yeah.
And when they were little and you first moved there after Danny's death, how much time was she spending with them?
When I moved there after Danny's death in 2014.
It was a ridiculous lamp, Anne Bedian. It's a lamp that's like, hey, look, we've got an eclectic lamp, but we bought this eclectic lamp in a big kit that came with all this other shit, this other soulless, no personality installment that we've created, and we've told the boys to study here. because, you know, our whole life has to be like a catalog. Yeah, I do hate her. This is part of the reason I want to stop covering her, because, you know, I don't need this much hate in my life. I don't particularly like being borderline overly aggressive publicly. It's not a great image. I don't feel good about myself. So we're switching it up, but we've got to get through what the viewers want, and the viewers want Wendi. But I'm sick of it. I am sick to death of this stupid fuck.
How much time was your mom spending with the boys?
I mean, we were all living together at that point. So, I mean, we were spending every day together.
How were your parents employed? Are they retired now?
They're retired now.
What are they retired from?
My dad was a dentist, and my mom used to coordinate, kind of be like an office administrator at his practice.
And did she write the checks at the practice? Paychecks?
Yes. She handled all the bookkeeping.
What was the name of the practice?
The name changed over the years, but probably the name when they retired was the Adelson Institute.
And were your parents wealthy at the time that your husband was murdered?
I mean, my parents worked their whole lives to support us, right? So I think the business did well for a period of time.
About $2 million in profit each year between 2013 and 2016,
They
sound right?
never talked to me about money, so I have no idea how much the business made at any given point.
Did you discuss your marital problems with your mom at all?
I did, yeah.
Okay. What about the resulting legal issues? Was your mom read in on those things?
I mean, I definitely updated her about the results of the relocation when that petition got denied, but not kind of the ins and outs of every part of our divorce.
What about your dad? Was he invested in your divorce status?
I think the same as my mom, just worried about me and worried about the boys.
What about your brother? Did he take an interest in the ins and outs of your divorce?
No, not really.
Did he need to protect you from Dan Markel?
No, I mean, I don't think I need protection.
Were you physically in danger from Dan Markel?
No, I wasn't in danger.
Did the litigation revolving around the divorce and the subsequent issues that arose, did that impact your family back in South Florida?
Yeah, we covered Shadrick Noble's Patricia. It's on our channel page. Big picture of his beaming smile.
I mean, only to the extent that I think they felt bad for what I was going through, but
I want to show you an exhibit that I've marked as State's Exhibit 59. Sorry, 57, Your Honor. You've seen this one before as well. Does that one look familiar?
I don't remember it, to be honest. It's from 10 years ago.
Take a moment to look through it.
Sure.
Which ones?
When you're done, I'll let opposing counsel take a look at it, but go ahead and let us know when you're done reviewing it.
Is anyone else fucking bored as fuck? I just hate this bitch. I don't know if I can get through this, man. You know, I'm not happy covering this. Oh, get on with it, you fuckers. Yeah, come on, give us more fucking bullshit lie, you fucking cunt.
Dad's, mine, and yes, even Charlie's will be affected by how well you can perform/act before July 31st. You need to be a good actress or you can be a good actress when you want to. I've seen you in action. You need to put on the performance of your life. Jibbers hasn't beaten the Adelson family yet. Who's Jibbers?
Jibbers, she's referring to Danny.
And was Jibbers a name he went by or just something you called him behind his back?
Jibbers was a silly nickname that I gave him during the divorce proceedings when he was being pretty scary and threatening, and it kind of made me feel less scared of him.
Okay, so not something you called him to his face.
No.
But that was a word that was only used to describe him.
Yes, it was a nickname.
Okay. So in this, again, your mom is referencing how everyone's life is being affected by this relocation, including your brother, Charlie. Do you agree with that?
That is what she said, yes.
All right. Is your mom overprotective of you?
Yes.
All right. And is it fair to say she's, a little on the controlling side?
I don't think she's controlling, but she's definitely overprotective.
Did she ever try to micromanage your life?
Maybe, yeah.
Did she have an interest in who you were dating and who you weren't dating and who you should be dating when you were single?
I think she was usually disappointed that I wasn't dating more.
Okay. For example, isn't it true that she would not let you drive to and from Tallahassee to South Florida?
Well, I used to drive before I had the boys, but they were young and she preferred to come with me and give me some extra support.
So what would that look like if you were going to take a trip to South Florida? Would they come up here and get you, or?
No, sometimes I would myself with the kids, but I was breastfeeding both of them. So it usually looked like me breastfeeding a child while I entertained the other in the Okahumpka rest stop. So it was a lot. It was helpful to have some backup.
All right. And so that time frame you'd be referencing is like the 2013 time frame? Because not around the time of Danny's death, you wouldn't have still been breastfeeding, would you?
If Lincoln was 3, no, I would have stopped maybe the year before.
Okay.
So maybe was it 2012, 2013?
Okay. And wasn't it true that around the time of the death, they were still doing this practice where they would prefer to drive you to and from South Florida?
I mean, not every time, but sometimes.
Okay. And would your mom sometimes enlist your brother Charlie to convince you to do certain things in your personal life?
Can't really think of an example of that.
Well, dating Dave was a big one on some of the materials I had.
Yeah, people like Dave.
All right. And your mom really liked Dave.
Yeah, everyone liked Dave, but we were just friends.
Okay. Did she try? So she would try to get Charlie to convince you to date a certain person.
I don't think she was getting Charlie to convince me to date Dave. I think everyone liked Dave.
All right. And would she try to get Charlie to convince you to do certain things as far as your professional life? What jobs to take?
No, I don't think so.
Do that. Would she try to get Charlie to do certain things like
we have the wiretaps. She wants to steer away from this as much as possible because this is her motive for setting up her brother and her mother to go to jail for the rest of their fucking lives, which was absolutely her motive. Anyone who fucking doesn't get that by now, look at it again, see it.
Advise you on investment decisions, whether or not you were going to buy a house, for example.
I don't think so. I don't remember that. Danny and I made that decision together.
Not that house, you stupid fucking bitch.
Once you had left Dan and you were living separately, did you look into purchasing a home here in Tallahassee?
I did, yeah.
And did your brother Charlie convince you not to do that?
I don't remember him convincing me not to. The only reason why I didn't was because I was waiting on the money from Danny from the settlement and he didn't pay it, so I couldn't afford the house.
And your mom didn't want you to buy the house, did she?
That's not true. My parents were looking to buy a house in Tallahassee as well.
Okay. Did you have... Strike. generally speaking, does your mom manipulate the personal lives of her children?
No.
Is your mom, like, if she's really upset about something or worked up about something, is that something that your brother Charlie's going to hear a lot about? Who's going to hear more of it, you or Charlie?
Well, if my mom's upset with me, probably Charlie. And if she's upset with Charlie, probably me.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so-
yeah. Like if I've been bad, like if I take the last piece of cake out of the fridge, she'll call Charlie up and say, "Oh, that Wendy's been so bad." And if Charlie drops his cell phone into a patient's mouth, she'll call me up and say, "Oh, that Charlie's been so bad." Just this unbelievably twee, dainty. Well, if my mum's more upset with me, probably me.
Do you get a lot of that? Do you hear a lot about, let's go back, let's go to before the murder. Did you get a lot of Donna just giving you an earful about what Charlie needs to be doing?
Probably at some point.
What was Charlie doing with his personal life? What did his personal life look like
At what point?
before the murder?
I mean, at what period of time before?
All of them. Wasn't it just a revolving door of girlfriends?
Right, but my mom didn't complain to me.
Okay, we've got some fucking angel in the background here, guys, sorting out some time codes to the good bits because I can't cover this whole thing before I go and fucking burn down a police station or something.
About that.
She didn't mind that with him.
I don't understand the question.
She didn't mind if he went from girl to girl to girl. That was acceptable.
She didn't really weigh in on it, no.
Who talked to her more, you or Charlie?
Charlie.
A lot more, right?
Yeah.
At the time of Dan Markel's murder, were your parents extremely angry with Dan?
At that point, no. They were in a much better place.
I want to direct your attention to an interview that was conducted on, I think this was your law enforcement interview. So July.
Thanks, Steve, for the coffee. That's our first coffee of the night, guys. I'm whoring myself out trying to get through this fuck material because the people want it and there's no coffees. Shit. This is the last fucking Adelson shit I'm doing until the 10th of December. I'm not doing this fucking shit show anymore. We're moving on. We're doing Boone. I'm not even really looking forward to Boone. I just want to get out of this toxic web at the moment. Fucking hell. It's pissing me off. Move on.
July 18th, 2014. And I'm specifically for court and counsel looking at page 27, lines 11 and 12. I've got it open to the page, but you can flip around if you need to familiarize yourself.
Sure.
And I'll take that exhibit if you want.
Do you want me to flip through or just look at this one page?
If you'll just look at that one page, well, I mean, not that reminder. 27. Let me get to where you are. So page 27 there, lines 11 and 12, and I've got it highlighted for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Says, Ms. Adelson, my parents are, very angry toward him. Is that true?
Was that
Isn't that
true?
what you said? Your parents were very angry toward Dan.
Can I read the rest of the sentence?
Sure.
So I say, my parents are very angry towards him, but even when they're around my kids, they would never say a bad word about my kid's father.
And then on page 288.
Apart from saying stupids on the phone, hey, your idiot father wants to speak to you to take my sunshines away.
Line 24, through page 289, line 1. And that's going to be, yeah.
Yeah, Derek, I'll watch a gorilla video after this. But, you know, yeah.
Didn't you say, it's like my parents have more reason to dislike Danny than almost anyone else? Is that what you said?
That is what I said.
And that's because he hurt you, right?
And I was saying that in the context of talking to law enforcement for hours and hours and trying to help them figure out who might be responsible.
Right. And who
Oh, is that what you were doing, is it? Is that what you were doing? And you and Jane saying, yes, maybe we should can we get an update from the hospital? Is he dead? Can I call main base and let them know to take the $100,000 of soapy money to Charlie to pay the hits? Is that what you were doing? You were helping them work it all out. There was a big ugly bag of snakes, and you were going to straighten them into a nice line. Fucking bitch.
Who did you tell them might be responsible?
Well, I told them many people.
4153. 4153. Well, that's only 10 minutes in the future. 4153.
Charlie brought up a good point when he said that Americans were dropped behind enemy lines during World War II wearing Nazi uniforms to get what they wanted. They had a job to get done, and they did what they needed to do to accomplish it. You have a job to get done in a very short time frame to accomplish it. If you dressed your kids up in Hitler youth uniforms and brought them down here, I could care less if it was an act of defiance that would show Gibbers that he's all caps and
4153 of another video. Okay. Goodbye.
Your parents came directly.
Oh, here's another face that I do not need to see anymore.
Does Charlie love his nephews?
Very much.
May I have one moment, Your Honor? Thank you, Ms. Adelson. I have no further questions.
Redirect examination.
the long list of plans that you went over with Mr. Rashbaum that you were going to have in Tallahassee post murder date. None of those plans happened, right?
No,
Because you moved to South Florida, right?
because I felt unsafe to stay here, yes.
And did you feel safe in South Florida?
No,
Did you buy a house in Tallahassee after the murder?
no, I did not.
Did you rent a house in Tallahassee after the murder?
No, I didn't live in Tallahassee after the murder.
Did the boys go to school that fall here in Tallahassee?
No, all our plans were broken.
And what was the purpose of those questions? Of course you didn't. You moved to South Florida. You didn't have plans in Tallahassee that got executed. Why were you asked about all these things?
I don't know why I was asked questions by the defense counsel.
The book event that you were asked about, did that event happen?
I didn't speak at the event, but the event still happened.
Have you had several events related to that book that have happened?
I have.
And what events were those?
Do you mean just in Tallahassee or do you mean in other places?
Everywhere.
I've spoken at various schools about human trafficking and about my book.
You spoke about your book, did you? I bet that was fucking entertaining.
I think there was one event that still happened in Tallahassee about a year later.
And is that the only book you've written, or have you written more than one book?
I've only written one book.
Oh,
What was the book about?
you're not poised to another. You're not gonna give us another treat, wordsmith treat of reading pleasure. Fuck you.
The book was about human trafficking and about the vulnerabilities that lead to trafficking, the problems when it occurs, and basically how to recover from it after.
Where was the book set?
It was set in a fictional town,
What was the name of the fictional town?
Hiawassee Springs.
So Hiawassee. Is it located in the panhandle of Florida?
No, I used to see the name when I was driving from Tallahassee to Orlando, so it's somewhere in between.
And was the place modeled after Tallahassee?
It was definitely somewhere in Florida, but not supposed to be about Tallahassee, no.
Who was the central character in that book?
So there's 3 central characters. One was one of my clients, kind of a composite character from Eastern Europe. One was kind of a composite character of many clients I've represented from Latin America. And one was a public interest lawyer.
And was the public interest lawyer Lily?
Yes.
And is that the character?
Yeah, I named the lead character of my book after a funeral flower. Okay.
Character that's sort of based after yourself?
No, really more based after a
Yeah, it was a composite character of all lawyers in the world. Fuck off.
Fine.
And was Hiawassee, Florida, quote, just a small stop on the way back to what we had previously known as civilization? Is that a quote from your book?
That sounds like a quote from my book, yeah.
And who's the husband of Lily, the public interest lawyer?
You want his name in the book?
Yes.
Yeah, his name is Stan Markel. Professor Stan Markel.
I think it was Josh Stone.
All right.
It was a composite character of every shitbag, useless husband.
And what was Josh's employment?
Josh was an English professor.
I'm sorry, what was your answer?
Josh was an English professor.
A professor, where did he teach?
It's been a while. I wrote the book over 10 years ago. I don't remember what I named the university in the in the
North
story.
Florida State University,
That sounds right.
NFSU.
NFSU sounds right. Yeah.
All right. And in the book, does Lily lament, quote, we moved to this godforsaken place for Josh's career?
Yes, that sounds like a line Lily would say.
All right. When you looked at page 187 of the divorce document on cross, and I'll hand that back to you. This is actually my copy. Let me just turn back to 187. Do you see the quote that you read previously from that page?
I don't.
Okay. It had to do with, let's see if I can find it. That you were very unhappy in the marriage. I think it's the third paragraph there.
I see that line.
Okay, the wife has been very unhappy in the marriage and files her petition for dissolution of marriage in August 2012. The husband continues to characterize this as abandonment, and then it goes on to say that he had been disparaging you to some of the folks at the law school. Do you remember reading that?
I do.
Was that intended to be the place in this binder where you allege emotional abuse by your husband?
I mean, I think it's emotionally abusive to suggest somebody has mental health issues.
Okay. What is the Prof's blog? You were asked about that on Cross.
Yeah, it was a blog that Danny started with some of his colleagues to kind of promote community in the law professor world.
And Who reads the profs?
Probably
Prof's blog.
other law professors and people interested in becoming law professors.
Who is on the Crim Prof listserv?
I don't know.
Were you
Probably.
on the listserv for that prof's blog?
I may have been on the listserv at some point.
Do you remember seeing the post that you were shown on Cross?
I do.
And the post says something about Danny and I are planning to attend a conference that will begin Sunday, July 20th. Is there any other information on what you were shown about Dan's travel plans post-murder other than that?
I'm sorry. Can you please repeat the question?
The post says Danny and I guess it's another professor writing this thing. Danny and I are planning to attend a conference that will begin Sunday, July 20th. Is that the type of information that he would typically have on something like the Prof's blog or Facebook?
That sounds right.
Okay, but as far as the date he's leaving, the flight he's on, that kind of stuff, would that typically be on the Prof's blog?
He wouldn't put what flight number he was on, but he would almost always communicate when he was going on a trip.
Okay, so going to a conference that starts July 20th might be an example.
Flying to New York tomorrow would be an example,
Okay.
but
he didn't
not
put
a flight number.
But he didn't put flying to New York tomorrow on this occasion.
No.
You were referenced several times, not on direct examination by the state, but by your brother's attorney on cross as a co-conspirator. Are you charged in this case?
No.
This isn't your trial, is it?
No.
Is your brother charged with conspiring with you to do a murder?
No.
Is he charged with conspiring with you to plan a murder?
No.
Is he charged with soliciting you to do a murder?
No.
Who is he charged with doing those things with?
I don't think anyone.
Have you had an opportunity to review his indictment in this case?
I have not.
Yeah, but it was 10 years ago. And I don't remember anything, where I live or fuck off.
An opportunity to take a look at that document yourself. Who is your brother alleged to have done these crimes with?
Katherine Magbanua.
Were you on the wire in this case, Ms. Adelson?
No.
So when the bump happened, are you familiar with the event I'm referencing as the bump?
I am now.
When law enforcement approached your mother on the street and handed her a piece of paper?
Yes.
Okay, when that occurred, who did your mother call?
I don't know.
Not you, right?
Not me.
Okay. And once your brother found out about the bump, did he call you about it?
No.
Who did he call?
I don't know.
Well, you listened to the calls to authenticate the voices, didn't you?
Just to hear the voices, not to hear the content of the calls.
Okay. And the voices were your brother's voice, right?
But I listened to the calls just to hear who was on them, so I don't know what content they're referencing.
I heard your answer. My question to you now is your brother's voice was on the calls.
He was on some of the calls I listened to.
Your mother's voice was on the calls.
She was on some of the calls I listened to.
Did you have any secret meetings with your brother post bump that happened in South Florida?
No.
You were asked about Jeffrey DeCoste and the way that your relationship ended. What is OkCupid?
OkCupid is a dating website.
Were you on that dating website?
I was.
Were you on that dating website at the time that you were dating Mr. DeCoste?
No, I wasn't.
And were you speaking?
Ban this woman from any online dating facility, for fuck's sake.
So I guess if you weren't on it, you weren't speaking to multiple men from the website during the time you were dating Mr. DeCoste. And I'll remind you that you provided your phone in this case and it was cell-brighted, downloaded.
Objection. Argument.
Approach.
Didn't you just say that you weren't on OkCupid at the time that you were dating Jeffrey DeCoste?
I don't know when we say I officially stopped dating Jeff Lacasse, but there's a chance that, I don't remember in 2014 whether I had gotten the app and started talking to people before we officially broke up.
Okay, so my point is there's a chance that he was right. You were being unfaithful, or at least talking to other people. He had a reason to be jealous.
I think he had some serious jealousy issues that may or may not have been founded.
Yeah, I think we got from your testimony that you believe he had serious jealousy issues. My question to you is, did he have a reason to be?
No.
So he was wrong.
He was wrong in June when he accused me of being with multiple people that I wasn't with. Yes.
Okay. What was wrong with Dan's mother trying to make arrangements for the kids in the event of your arrest? Wasn't that a kind thing to do?
I don't think it's kind to put my children in foster care.
Wasn't the foster care intended only to cover the time frame that it would take for her to get on a plane and get here?
She never said that.
You thought she was just going to leave them in foster care?
I didn't know what to think. They have a mother. They don't need to be in foster care.
But they wouldn't have a mother in the event of your arrest, Ms. Adelson. Wasn't that the intention of the email?
I don't know what the intent of the email was. I was not going to be arrested for a crime I didn't commit.
Yeah, I don't know what the intent of the email was, and I can't speak to the eyes of the world.
She didn't know that, though, did she?
I don't know what she knows or doesn't know. I can't speak to that.
Do Dan's parents know whether you committed this crime or not?
I don't know how to answer that question.
How would they? Particularly back at the time that she sent that email. It was fresh at that time, right?
I'm sorry, what was fresh?
All the events that were occurring, the arrests.
That was 2 years after Danny's murder. I don't know what she knew or didn't know. I know that my children don't belong in foster care.
Was it a specific foster care that she was requesting be called in the event that the children had no place to go and were going to be going into the custody of the state?
She did suggest a specific foster care agency.
A Jewish-run foster care agency.
A Jewish foster care.
Fuck that.
Give me my case! Give my fucking case! Get right in there! Cunt! Give me my case, you cunt! Give me my... She don't want to fucking see ya! Give me my kid out in there! Fuck you! My kid, get right in there! I'll fucking bury you! My case! You cunt, you fucking cunt! She's lost the fucking baby because of you, because you can't get your money! That's a little fucking noise, mate! Kill you! You can threaten me all you fuck... Look at this cunt! Go back inside, you nosy cunt! Right, get back inside your window, mate! I'm not your own fucking business! Ain't nothing to do with you! Go inside! I'll fucking come smash your window! I'll fucking kick your door down and I'll throw you out the window, you cunt! You fucking
Just get back inside of my God, you fucking mongrel shit cunt! You get back inside of my dog!
I'll fucking kill you, you cunt!
Get back inside! That's it!
I'll phone the bloody...
Are you fucking phoning your life, you fucking...
Fuck you, I'll pull you off, I'll fucking find her, and I'll come back and I'll do you, you cunt! Fucking mug! Well, baby, I'll get a fucking gun. Just give me a fucking gun. Someone give me a gun. I'll fucking kill her. I'll kill that cunt. I'll fucking get a gun, I'll kill you, cunt.
Get back in the motor,
You fucking slick.
Get back in the motor, come and every old here any minute.
Wait, cunt!
Don't fucking worry about him. Get in the motor, let's get
Still
out.
looking at the fucking window!
Get back in the motor!
Give me a fucking...
You fucking get back inside!
Well, you're not paying, get paid!
Get back inside!
Get your fucking
Get back in the motor, mate!
I'll be 368 EJM, you cunt!
Get inside.
Bill's already got that fucking number! Why did they call the old Bill? Get him in here and I'll fucking shoot them all! You nosy cunt! You got it in here, I'll shoot them! I'll come back, I'll stab you in the brain, you cunt! Get me out of here before I kill someone! Get me fucking out of here! I'll kill some cunt! Let's go back for a bit more. No, just hold up, don't matter.
Yeah. You see, that'd be me outside 3303 Aqua Ridge fucking way. Right, I need to go and watch a gorilla right now. I'm too upset to eat. I'm not doing Wendi Adelson anymore. Fuck it. Don't like it, unsubscribe. Fuck it. Fuck her. Fuck this. Fucking bollocks.